brand Beckham is in crisis.
And someone just said, Brooklyn Beckham, explosion signs. And I was like,
Brooklyn doesn't talk like this. We've really never seen Brooklyn do a statement on anything before.
But what's the real story behind the Beckham family feud?
Maybe they'll reflect and realise that not all their kids necessarily wanted to be part of this big machine all the time.
We're just gonna, make this an incredible, indestructible brand.
the only thing I can compare it to is the Wagatha Christie drama.
We go inside the story with exclusive information.
I got the nod that no, Brooklyn and Nicola will not be attending.
The one thing I do know about Victoria Beckham is she does love a drink and she loves a shimmy.
And then it was Brooklyn sort of facing me with Hannah Cross, his girlfriend at the time.
And in a world first, we uncover Brooklyn and Nicola's future plans for a family of their own.
So I can reveal that Nicola and Brooklyn have considered adoption. I've been covering the Beckhams for almost 20 years now, and I've met them both several times. I really, really like them both.
The first time I met the Beckhams was at Glastonbury a few years ago, and it was just kind of unbelievable because I had Victoria Beckham right next to me and David dancing on her. And then it was Brooklyn sort of facing me with Hannah Cross, his girlfriend at the time, in between us.
I remember clearly the time when I went to Madrid to meet him for the afternoon. A really good time, very relaxed, good interview, but you should never mistake when you're with somebody like Beckham that he's suddenly your mate, because he's not your mate. He was flying back to the UK, as was I, and he lives very near me. He lived very near me at the time in a place called Sawbridgeworth. He was getting a private jet back, and I thought, I'm on Bex's private plane, here we go, this will be perfect. And he went, you're going back to England? Yep, that's right. Because, okay, have a good flight.
I've had a really fun night out with Victoria when she's had some drinks, and she was amazing, everything you'd want posh to be. They were the first family to kind of become a brand and set that precedent, which the Kardashians, etc. followed, and yeah, I've got a lot of time for both of them.
Brand Beckham has always sort of existed. I mean, they have been really good at monetizing things.
I don't think since Charles and Diana there had been a couple that were so loved and adored by the public.
That's what's always impressed me about him and Victoria. They've made the best of what they are. She wasn't the best singer, he wasn't the best footballer, but he was a very good footballer, and they took it to the maximum. They achieved absolutely everything they could with the talents they had.
I feel a bit sorry for Brooklyn because I can't imagine being born into a family like the Beckhams. He struggled to find his way, that would be how I would say. I mean, he started, he was a photographer, and now he's a chef. He did modeling for a while. I just think he's struggled with what he is. I have never known anything like those statements dropping. Now, I am chronically on my phone. I'm a showbiz journalist. I'm surprised I'm not sitting holding my phone right now. I came out of my gym class and lifted my phone, and I think I had about 100 WhatsApps from different people. And I was like, that's a bit more than usual. And some of them just said, Brooklyn Beckham, explosion signs. And I was like, what has happened?
Brooklyn doesn't talk like this. We've really never seen Brooklyn do a statement on anything before. I think it was this narrative that pushed him over the edge. And I think he was so angry about that story being out there that he was like, okay, this has gone too far. I now need to set the record straight.
I can reveal that Nicola and Brooklyn have considered adoption. Nicola has been filming a film role. She's down to 90 pounds, so she's not in a place to have a child biologically anytime soon. And I think this is something that Victoria is really worried about because, imagine your first grandchild and not having a part in this baby's life or this child's life.
Brooklyn thinks he's left one family behind, but there's no doubt he's looking to start his own family as soon as possible.
Nicola and Brooklyn first met at Coachella festival and couldn't stand one another. It was hate at first sight, basically.
When they actually got together, they were at a Halloween party, but not just anyone's Halloween party. It was Leonardo DiCaprio's Halloween party in 2019. And for some reason, Brooklyn was hiding in a bush. So there was some sort of issue of people weren't able to get into the party, and there were a lot of paps. So Brooklyn was hiding in the bush from the paps, and Nicola saw him, and I think she probably found this quite entertaining.
Obviously swapped numbers, and then the rest, as we know, and has been well documented across all social media, you know, the rest is history, and they fell madly and wildly in love.
It was a really speedy romance. They were engaged within 6 months, and that was sort of it. Brooklyn was absolutely hooked on Nicola.
Initially things were great, and I'm sure there were tensions behind the scenes, but from both camps it was very much the idea of business as usual. We're just gonna, you know, make this an incredible, indestructible brand.
Brooklyn was welcomed into their family home. It was known that definitely in the first couple of years of their relationship, he was living with Nicola in the family home. The wedding happened on their family estate in Florida, which is this absolutely massive home. So I think that really does suggest that they gave approval, because you wouldn't be inviting everyone into your home if you didn't believe that this was the right person that your daughter should be marrying.
So in the run-up to the wedding, things were already pretty fraught behind the scenes. I was getting wind of it, but it was also very much business as usual from both camps, so you couldn't really write anything because it was firm denials. No, everyone gets on really well.
The Beckhams wanted 2 ceremonies. They wanted one in the UK and one in the US, which kind of makes sense as a transatlantic couple. But the Peltzes said, no, we want one in the US and not one in the UK.
They sacked the wedding planners. They brought in wedding planners like not long before the wedding. There was a lot of issue over the guest list. And I think the Peltz definitely wanted it hidden that it was so chaotic from the Beckhams. They didn't seem to want them to know that everything was not well in the lead up to the wedding.
Victoria was supposed to be designing the dress, and obviously that seems like the most sensible option, right? The mother-in-law is a famous fashion designer. Why wouldn't she design your wedding dress?
In his very damning 1,200-word statement on Instagram, Brooklyn claimed, you know, he used the phrase 11th hour, i.e. my mother pulled out at the 11th hour. The Beckhams are absolutely furious about this, and they say, you know, look at this Vogue interview he gave, which he clearly says Valentino had been making the dress 11 months prior. So someone's selling porcupines somewhere along the line.
He mentions the fact that his mum took over the first dance, and it was supposed to be this romantic moment for bride and groom, and he said that his mum danced on him.
Mark Antony said that Brooklyn should put his hands on his mother's hips, and this did upset Nicola.
Somebody I know from Peltz's camp says, you know, Brooklyn ran away to the downstairs loo afterwards and was crying, and he felt shocked, he felt embarrassed. You know, I think Brooklyn used the word humiliated himself, and that was, you know, that was what's told to me about 8 months ago.
I mean, part of me is like, oh my God, I really, really want to see it. I sort of actually feel sorry for her, because, you know, the one thing I do know about Victoria Beckham is she does love a drink, and she loves a shimmy. If you follow her on Instagram, she's always dancing. Even in the documentary with David, you know, they were like line dancing around her kitchen.
The videographer who took the first dance wedding video, he also, after 6 months, was made to delete his footage. So the only 2 people on the entire planet that have evidence of what actually happened at this dance is Nicola and Brooklyn Peltz Beckham. So last April, May, it was really kind of boiling point. David Beckham was celebrating his 50th birthday. He'd planned long in advance a week-long celebration, and Brooklyn and Nicola were notably absent from it all. I found out the night before his main sort of party on the Saturday night. I got the nod that, no, Brooklyn and Nicola will not be attending.
Brooklyn giving the statement has given us a little bit of his side of events, where he said they did travel to London. They spent a week there trying to meet up with his dad, and David wouldn't see him because the only way he would see him was if it was in front of cameras at a big party. And Brooklyn had said he does not want to be sort of presented in that way anymore.
Brooklyn had sent a text message to David and said, look, I want to come and see you, I want to say happy birthday to you, but can we do it behind closed doors? Because, you know, we haven't seen each other for months. Clearly things, you know, have happened between us. It's a hard time. I just want to see you sort of man to man, father to son. And the sort of story that came back was that the Beckhams said, no, if you're going to come and see us, you need to come to this star-studded party. We want the cameras there. We want people to see that you're with the family.
When David Beckham looks back at his 50th birthday party, his eldest son wasn't there. He wasn't in pictures, and that would have marred the day. And I sort of feel like no matter your feelings for other behaviour, he should have put that aside and just went to the party. I think David and Victoria would 100% forgive Brooklyn. I think that was, you know, we didn't think they would comment, but the only comment I ever sort of expected them to make would be like, he's always our son, he's always welcome to be in our family. And I would imagine if he called them up today and said, I'm sorry, I've made mistakes, can I come back? They would welcome him back with open arms. I think that's what parents who love their kids do.
I've never doubted David's dedication as a dad. The thing about the Beckhams is they clearly love their kids.
David's totally going to be devastated about this, you know. It's his eldest son, and they are such a close-knit family.
I think as a mother, you're only as happy as your saddest child. So the idea that Brooklyn is so unhappy that he doesn't want to see them anymore will absolutely devastate her.
There's got to be a world where they come back into each other's lives.
David's just signed a new 20-year perfume fragrance deal. Victoria's online beauty company is doing incredibly. She just released this £104 foundation, which everyone on TikTok is obsessed with. It's apparently amazing. You know, I think she needs to focus on that, and she will focus on that, and she does a brilliant job at it.
When they look back, maybe they'll reflect and realise that not all their kids necessarily wanted to be part of this big machine all the time, and that Brooklyn perhaps wanted to step out from it from time to time and be part of it on his terms.
He'll come to realise that his parents love him, and you know, he owes a lot to them, and perhaps it would be you know, in his interest as well as everyone else's to reconnect and be in each other's lives. I mean, that's what everyone's hoping for, and I think that day will come.